everyone. I just wanted to send out a quick little how-to on the review that you guys, well, the Unit 1 test quiz that you guys took last week, because I know that it will help you with your weekly assignment from this week because there are some review questions. So hopefully this will shed some light on maybe like where you might have made a mistake or another way that you could have solved a question. That's all I'm here for, is to help out, okay? So let's get started. So this first question says an engine is operating at 25% of its full power. Which number line below shows a point that represents 25%? Well, first things first, none of these are in percents. They are all in whole numbers and in decimals. So we need to figure out a fraction and then turn that into 25%. Hopefully you remember that 25% is 1/4 as a fraction because we talked about money, and this was one of your benchmark fractions. So we're looking for a fraction that equals 1/4. Well, this says 1, 2 out of 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So this is 2 out of 10. So I'm going to stop there and I'm going to say, okay, divide by 2, divide by 2. I'm trying to get to 1/4 by simplifying. That would be 1, and then 10 divided by 2 is 5. Well, that can't be it, okay? So then I go to the next one. This is 1, 2 out of 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So that's 2/8. And once again, I divide by 2. Divide by 2, and I get 1 out of 4. Wait a minute. That's what I was looking for. I was looking for 1/4 and I found it. So that is actually the answer to our question right there. This next one would have been 2 out of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 2 out of 5, which would be 40%. And this last one is 1, 2, 3, 4 out of 12, which would get me 1/3. 4 out of 12, yeah, divided by, yeah, that would have gotten me 1/3, which is 33 1/3%. So definitely making your fraction and then simplifying, it helps a lot. Okay, so our next question, I'm on preview, so it's going to make me actually go through the whole question. Okay, so at a zoo, 1/20th of the birds are macaws. What decimal, should say decimal, what decimal is equivalent to 1 out of 20? Well, this is where you would divide it out, 1 divided by 20. Now 20 doesn't go into 1, so I'm going to put a 0 here, which already means goodbye to this question. Then I have decimal and a 0, and 20 can't go into 10, so I'm going to put another 0 right here. 20 can go into 100 5 times. Oh, and then so I have a decimal and 0, 5, so 5/100ths. And that would be correct for D. A company spent 32% of its annual budget on developing a new machine. What fraction of the company's budget was spent developing the new machine? So it's asking you to turn this into a fraction. Well, percent means out of 100. That's what that means. Percent means out of 100. I look and I say, okay, my fraction's not there. So I say, okay, what can I divide these things by? Well, I know I can divide by 2, or I could divide by 4. I'm going to try 4. This is when knowing your multiplication facts can be really helpful, because 8 times 4 gets me 32. And then this is just like quarters, so I know that it has to be 25, because 25 times 4 gets me 100. And then I look and I say, oh, well, there's my answer. And I'm done. I stop there. Carlos walked to school on 14 of the 20 days. So that's how many times he walked. What is the equivalent fraction of the days he walked? So that's good because they match up. So 14 over 20. So there's a lot of different ways you could do it, but I like to start by getting my most simplified fraction because that'll help me. So that's 7 out of 10 because I divide by 2, divide by 2. Wait, I know this. Tenths. 7/10 is the same as 7/10. That's how you read your decimal. So let's see, those aren't the correct decimals, so that's not it. Well, I also know that would mean I could do Dr. Pepper and I could move it 1, 2 to the right, and I would get 70%, which is why the correct answer was A. Number 5, a waiter earned a 17% tip. What decimal is equivalent to 17%? Well, percent means out of 100. So I'm looking for 1700ths. Also, you can move your decimal twice to the left. And so this is the only answer that makes sense. 1700ths, that's how you read that decimal. The shaded model below represents 100%. So it's saying this little piece right here is 100%. Which of the following represents 33 1/3? So I don't even have a whole 100%. So this one has a whole 100. Actually, it has 3 of those, and so does this one. So those would both be over 300%. Well, that's not what I want. So this one has 1, 2, 3 shaded out of 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. This is 3 out of 10, which is 30%. So I know the only answer that could work is 1/3. 1 out of 3. This is one of your benchmark fractions I want you to memorize. 1 out of 3, or 1/3. An electric eel has a length of 1 8400ths meters. What fraction is equivalent? Well, if we're talking about fraction being equivalent, that would be 1 8400ths, because 1 8400ths. Well, already I can get rid of A because that's 84 over 10. I want over 100 because that's hundredths. I can get rid of the second one here because that does not have a whole number on it. But now I look and I go, I don't know if that fraction is correct or not. So I'm going to try to simplify it. Let's simplify by 4. So I'd still have 1 whole. 100 divided by 4, remember those are quarters, so that'd be 25. And then 84 divided by 4 gets me 21, which I told you those not here's, they try to get you. They were hoping you would get to here and say, oh, my answer's not there, so it's got to be not here. But really, you have to make sure you simplify. Make sure you simplify. Julia sorted 100 candies into different colors. If there are 40 blue candies, so there's 40 blue, which answer matches the percent decimal and fraction of the blue candies in the package? Well, that's 40 out of 100, which is the same thing as saying 40 hundredths, because 40 hundredths, that's how you read it, because this is tenths and hundredths. And then percent means out of 100, so this has got to be 40%. So the only one that works is got to be that one. Okay, so this is the one that was missed the most. Yesterday, 80 guests at a hotel did call for room service. 120 did not. What percent of the guests at the hotel called for room service? So we know that 80 guests called for room service. Out of how many total guests? It says find the total. Well, 80 plus 120 would be 200. And I know that for percent, that means percent means out of 100. So I'm just going to divide this by 2. Sorry, I know that doesn't look like a division symbol. It's supposed to be a division symbol. Divide by 2, divide by 2. Because if percent means out of 100, well, now mine's out of 100. And it is 40 out of 100. So that was the correct answer, 40 out of 100. Last question. It says match the following benchmark fractions to their equivalent percent below. So I'm going to start with the ones that I already know. A half, we've talked about this before. Half of 100% is 50%. Quarters, I know that 3/4 is 75%. 3/10, those are like dimes, so that would be 30%. And then 2/3 is one of those other ones that I've told you to memorize. It's 1/3 is 33 and 1/3%, and then 2/3 would be 66 and 2/3%. And then you always click submit and you go, woohoo. Okay, so that's how that quiz should have been taken. If you struggle with some of those questions, hopefully that helped seeing them worked out. And hopefully it helps you on your weekly assignment that you have, because some of these questions mirror the weekly assignment. And I hope you guys have a great day. If you have any questions, please feel free to email me. You guys are awesome, and have a great day.